What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we've got several interesting topics and bits of news to discuss about Destiny 2. There's quite a few new items, quests and engrams coming with the Dawning that I want to mention. We'll also be going over the roadmap of what events and updates to expect beyond the Dawning into the new year, and also some pretty cool news about Osiris, Masterworks and a bunch more. So plenty of things to talk about in today's video. So let's begin talking about the Dawning event and what to actually expect inside it, and then we'll move on to talk about what's happening after. So pretty similarly to last year, it's going to be a 3-week event beginning next Tuesday on the 19th of December, running up until the 9th of January. So that is how long it's going to be, and that's how much time you have. In terms of the things to earn throughout this event, there's going to be firstly a couple new weapon exotic ornaments. There are 4 of them so far. We can see the Graviton Lance one called Carina Nebula. It's going to turn it a bit purple and kind of like space themed, I guess. There's also Prism for the Prometheus lens, rest in peace, so that thing has now got a second one. We have Go About Your Business for the Sweet Business exotic auto rifle. This looks to black out the weapon, and I actually covered in a video a while back how there was a concept for an all black with red lights Sweet Business. So this looks to be that, and it wasn't just a scrapped version, so pretty cool design. The 4th one is for the Wardcliff coil. Now this I also covered in a video way back before the game even came out, and before we even know there were exotic ornaments. So in a trailer, I remember seeing this weird version of the coil that had these red chains and a big huge spike hanging off the front. I always wondered why it looked like that and if they changed the design or something, but now it makes sense that was actually an ornament. So this is an early look at it, but those are at least 4 weapon ornaments coming in the Dawning for exotics. Now throughout this event, there's also going to be a new milestone added, and this is going to reward you with a special Dawning engram. Now inside this, it says this present contains 1 Winter's Delight item plus 1 Holiday Spirit item. Not sure what those mean. There's also going to be 1 legendary item or 1 exotic item. So pretty similar to a Luminous engram. Obviously with a milestone, it's going to give you some good stuff. So that's basically the same thing for the Dawning, and you'll get 9 of those in total. So 3 per week on your 3 characters times at 3 weeks. There are a couple of items that Bungie mentioned in their blog post. The first thing is the Boon of the Dawning, looking pretty similar to the things that Shaxx and Zavala and Test sell. So basically gift consumables. This is obviously event themed, so it's kind of spread across multiple activities. The description says when this is used during a Strike or Crucible match, all players receive a gift at the end of the activity. Only 1 gift consumable can be used per player. There's also one of those engram packages or bundles called a gift in return. Bungie says you earn this by going to the bazaar and getting a gift schematic. You do some sort of grinding in the worlds and basically get a bunch of stuff to craft a gift. You give it to a vendor and they give you back this gift in return. There are also full sets of Dawning themed weapons and armor, and these are earned through Dawning related quests. We're not sure exactly what those entail, but some sort of in-game grinding. Chris Barrett tweeted out part of the weapon set, so this is a sword, pretty typical in that Dawning themed design. I'm really hoping the weapons have some good perks in them because these are going to be very exclusive. After the Dawning ends, they won't be obtainable anymore, so hopefully they're good. And these are the armor sets, of course, for the Hunter, Titan and Warlock. We saw very short glimpses of these before in a live stream, but now these are the full sets. Now, something Bungie said about Tess Everest is that during the Dawning, she is going to sell every single item on those guaranteed slots. So she, of course, has the kind of RNG route you can buy through packages, or you can simply buy stuff directly for a guaranteed price of Bright Dust. Now, throughout the Dawning, she's going to have some new stuff. If there's one item in particular that you want from her, you can just wait for her to sell it in those guaranteed slots. Eventually, she will. So seeing as most of these items in the Dawning are exclusive for only those 3 weeks, you don't have to rely on RNG to try and get this stuff, because eventually she will sell it. It's just a case of waiting for it to pop up in those guaranteed slots. Now, in terms of things to actually do during the Dawning, there is going to be firstly snowball piles everywhere, which you can actually throw snowballs from. So these are going to be in the tower, farm, and also inside strikes. Now, you can actually pick up snowballs and throw them at enemies. That's going to stun them for a short amount of time, not sure how long, but they're going to be kind of flashbanged. And it's also going to do apparently big damage to enemies. So you can basically throw snowballs as a primary weapon inside of strikes. For Crucible, there's going to be Mayhem added back finally for Destiny 2. So this, of course, was in Destiny 1, where it would overcharge your super, grenade, melee, all that stuff. It's basically a mode to not take too seriously because it's always really crazy. So that's going to be returning, thankfully. We're not sure if it's going to be a permanent addition to Destiny 2 or just for the Dawning, but hopefully it sticks around because it is a bit of variety as opposed to normal Crucible. There's also going to be ice hockey inside the ship hangar. So I'm guessing this replaces the football, which is normally there, but there's going to be ice hockey instead. So it's going to be a little bit different, as you can see in the image. There are also, of course, going to be some secrets and hidden stuff. They mentioned a while back how there are going to be Easter eggs to unlock, so expect those sort of things as well. That's a rough overview of the Dawning event. So for a timeline of what's happening briefly for Destiny 2 over the next coming weeks and months, Bungie are going to be taking some time off like they always do around the holidays. They'll be returning on the 11th of January, that's their next blog post. Obviously, that doesn't mean the studio is just shutting down altogether. There will still be people working on servers, making sure they're running smoothly, and in case any game-breaking bugs are discovered. But in terms of news and announcements, that will be on pause until the 11th of January. In the coming weeks, the Iron Banner and Faction Rally will also make a return, and then when Bungie come back from the holidays, they're going to be giving us some details on the January update, which of course is the next big update, similar to the December ones. We know so far that they're going to be improving the mod system, adding depth to the Masterworks weapons, also releasing Masterworks armor, a prevention system for the duplicate exotics, and also some incentives to play prestige activities. So expect to hear about those things in early January and for them to be implemented into the game in a week or two after that. Also, with the Prestige improvements, they'll be introducing the Prestige version of the Eater of Worlds raid layer. So that's a kind of brief overview of what to expect from Destiny 2 in terms of events and updates until January. Bungie also detailed some of the known issues and problems that came with the latest patch update on Tuesday. This firstly, a pretty important one that you should know about. Masterwork weapon cores are not properly forwarded to the Postmaster. In other words, do not dismantle any Masterwork weapons if your consumable inventory is full, because those cores are not going to go to your Postmaster. They also noted how when you create orbs using the multi-kills perk on Masterworks, on floating enemies they don't drop orbs for some reason, so that's kind of a weird thing, but try to kill enemies when they're on the floor, but that is a bug they're working on and hopefully fixing soon. They also identified an issue about challenges not appearing properly in Crucible Quick Play, and Ikora constantly offering you a waypoint even though she has nothing to offer you, so that is also being worked on now to be fixed. So next up is some actually pretty exciting news. Definitely if you're into the story and the lore, you're going to be very happy about this, but this is the beginning of a webcomic series being launched on Bungie.net for free, so you don't have to pay for it. This is going to be made by a New York Times best-selling author and writer, and also the Destiny story team. So they're going to be creating a webcomic series, and the first one is going to be called The Fall of Osiris, where we learn the origin story of both Ikora and Osiris. So for the first time, we'll actually learn what happened, why they fell out, why he was exiled, and why he turned into a traitor, and it should hopefully explain exactly why he is such a big deal. I think the Curse of Osiris campaign did a very bad job at explaining why he is so legendary. I mean, they build him up to be such a big character, and we got like one cutscene, so I was very disappointed in that. But this hopefully is actually going to explain why the speaker decided to exile him, Saint 14, all that kind of stuff. So this is going to be very promising, and I'm really looking forward to it. And also, of course, it's going to be a web series. This is just the first one, and I'm sure they'll do a bunch more on different characters. So Rasputin, the Fallen, the Vex, the Hive, all kinds of characters. So if you're really into the story, this should be very, very good news for you. And I'm hoping it's along the lines of the Books of Sorrows with depth of story, but also, of course, going to be illustrated with pictures. So they didn't give a date on when it's coming out, just said next week. So look out for some pretty cool stuff if you're into the story and finding out about Osiris and his origins. So next up, once you go into a bit more detail about the Masterworks, now we've had a couple more days to actually try them out. There are some more bits of info definitely worth knowing, my tips and advice, and also recommendations on which ones are good. So of course the orb generation is for yourself as well. You can collect your own orbs because they do drop from the enemies you kill. They are smaller orbs, so they don't give you a ton of energy, but you only need 2 kills to produce 1, so you can get quite a lot of them. A really helpful weapon to have as a master I found is actually a sword. So these can easily get double kills, but the main thing is you're always in the enemy's faces, so you can automatically collect those orbs. If you pair that with the sword that grants you bonus ammo or damage for rapid kills, that's a really good combo for PvE. So Masterwork swords are definitely a very good weapon to have. The stat bonuses, like I said, aren't hugely impactful, but it is worth knowing what to go for on each weapon and what to re-roll for. On hand cannons, for example, reload is always a nice one to have. I'd personally recommend it the most for PvE. In Crucible, of course, range would probably be a bit more helpful, but I have stability on my better devils, which is barely noticeable, so I'd always try to get stability on auto rifles or scouts, whereas range or reload on hand cannons. The magazine buff doesn't seem to be too impactful. It normally gives you 1 or 2 bullets, so I'd probably avoid that unless it's like a scout or something that really needs 1 bullet. Swords can get impact, and also so can snipers, and rockets can get blast radius and velocity, so depending on which one you have, which kind of archetype, those are definitely some decent choices to prioritize. But to be honest, I'm actually quite impressed with the December update so far, and how it has improved the end game. There actually is one now in a small form. Not very developed, but it's actually starting. You've got goals to achieve with the ornaments that have requirements. You can also get your favorite weapons to Masterworks, which is going to take a while. I like how difficult cores are to get because you actually have to make decisions, unlike Glimmer and Legendary Shards and Gunsmith parts. Those basically become pointless after a while. Also, the Forge system I do like because there is a grind there. I wish the perks on the weapons were a bit better, but it is another thing to work for. At the end of the day, that's what the community wants, and the feeling of progression, which wasn't there at launch at all. So I'm liking the direction Bungie is going with these first steps towards improving the end game. Obviously, we still have some ways to go. The January update is the next one to look out for. But I do genuinely want to know, what do you guys think so far about the December update and what it's done to Destiny 2? Are you happy with it? Do you still want to see more? Do you think it's a good start or not? But as always, if you enjoyed the video, then a like rating down below would always be much appreciated. Working on a couple more videos for you guys, so stay tuned. And if you want to watch something in the meantime, then you can click the image on screen to be taken to that video. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.